heavy reliance on original equipment of manufacturers. This is really the insidious part of the LCS program. Welcome back to another Naval News episode. This one comes at us from USNI News. Credit to usninews.org for doing all the legwork on this story, and credit to the author, Mallory Shalborn, for doing such a great job. She writes, House Appropriations wants Navy to save 5 littoral combat ships from decommissioning. And these are specifically from the Freedom class that you see here, a picture of 9 of. So the Navy wants to decommission all of these. They want to save approximately half. For what reason? We'll see in the piece here. She writes, the House Appropriators from the Navy want the Navy to keep 5 littoral combat ships, approximately half that they want to decommission, to allow the service to decommission 4, according to text in this fiscal year's 2023 defense spending bill. The legislation released today by the House Appropriations Committee would complicate the Navy's plans to decommission all 9 of the Freedom-class littoral combat ships next year. The bill directs a report on alternative uses, such as missions in the Southern Command and Africa Command, which is where we've used these in the past. So that's not unprecedented areas of responsibility. This permits the decommissioning of 4 combat ships, which would also allow the Navy and Defense Security Cooperation Agency to explore the possibility of transferring them to partner nations. Now, this was the moment that I realized I had to make a video, because this is a little disingenuous, as we'll talk about today. The reason why I believe members of the Armed Services House Committee, or the House Armed Services Committee, and specifically the Appropriations Committee, which is who we're talking about today, want to keep some of these ships on the books, okay? And one alternative, instead of transferring them to a partner nation, we could decommission these in accordance with the Navy's plans and still transfer them to a partner nation, okay? So keeping these operational does not in any way impact this idea right here. So therefore, saying, hey, if we keep these guys on the books, we can still maybe give these or sell these to another nation. Maybe even build more of these for them, and increase that way. And the primary thing that we're going to get into are the maintenance contracts. The more of these we keep on the active ship roster, the more lucrative maintenance contracts we're going to see for a number of shipyards, approximately 6. And we're going to break that down for you today. Who benefits by keeping these LCS on the active duty ship roster? The taxpayer doesn't, and the U.S. Navy doesn't want them because they can't use them. This is a Coast Guard ship in a Navy. Okay, back to the piece though. Mallory writes, seeking to defend the Navy's push to decommission the LCS, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Mike Gildy last month proposed to lawmakers that the service evaluate transferring the ships to countries in South America. This is a very good compromise, and we don't need to keep these ships on an active duty roster to do this. You can have a ship decommissioned for many years and still transfer it or sell it to another nation. The effort to retire the Freedom Variant class follows 2 major issues that have affected the ship's class. A problem with the combining gear that we've talked about many times. We beat that to death. The Navy struggled to field the anti-submarine warfare package for the LCS module. That was something that they kept very secret for a very long time. It was finally made public, I think, in 2020, and we've since then talked about it here in detail. The House Appropriators largely met with Biden's administration request, allotting $762 billion in defense spending. The problem with that is we don't need to be spending money on this program. So we could have spent the same amount of money meeting the president's request in systems and programs that are much more effective than this LCS boondoggle is. The lower chambers bill would allot $27.8 billion for the Navy to buy 8 ships it had asked for in fiscal year 2023 request, including 2 Virginias, which is a fantastic idea. Build 2 Virginias and 2 Arleigh Burkes every year with support vessels, incorporating the new Constellation class frigate, which looks like it's going to be an actual warship. So that's great news too. So the future looks very bright for this, but we don't need to have this albatross of an LCS program hanging around the necks of our budget anymore. We really don't. Anyway, I would encourage everyone, I'm not going to read the whole article to you. Go over to usni.org and read this article, very well written by Melry Shelbourne. It's the top story right now at time of this recording. So I want to talk a minute about the LCS program again. I've talked about the combining gear problem with the Freedom class that it has, the fact that mission modules are not interchangeable like they used to be, which was a huge selling point. They're stuck with one mission module per ship now. So if it's a surface warfare module, which appears to be pretty effective, compared to the other ones that are less effective, then it's stuck with that one. It doesn't swap it out anymore. And the ASW module, which would have made this, given this ship a great role in fleet operations, doesn't exist anymore. They stopped that program entirely for technical and mechanical reasons. Okay, but here's what the Government Accountability Office found with the LCS program. One, it says here, the Littoral Combat Ship is a class of small surface ship with two unique design variants. Both LCS variants carry small crews and rely more on contractors for maintenance than any other Navy ship. And that is huge for the military industry. Whether, it doesn't matter what the name of the shipyard is, you know, I'm not going to point them out yet, but they're making a lot of money as long as these ships are in active service, providing these maintenance contracts. Okay, while the strategy was intended to reduce operating costs, it contributes to the challenges of the Navy's strategy for contracted maintenance, specifically in two roles. One, contractor travel. U.S. law states that foreign contractors generally cannot conduct certain types of LCS maintenance because of the security level of the equipment that they're working on and the sensitivity of that. Therefore, this results in the Navy paying contractors to regularly travel overseas and perform a routine maintenance. The Government Accountability Office sampled at 18 delivery orders showed that the estimated travel cost of the orders reviewed ranged from a few $1,000s to over $1 million. So obviously, this has been a financial boondoggle from the beginning because it was planned to save money by having contractors do the maintenance, when in reality, the travel alone for these contractors is insanely more expensive than having a trained Navy sailor maintain his own equipment the way it's supposed to be done. And the second one is heavy reliance on original equipment of manufacturers. This is really the insidious part of the LCS program. The designers, the people who designed this ship before the first one was ever built, it was designed from the ground up to be proprietary equipment that only they could fix and troubleshoot. And here's what the Government Accountability Office found out about that. The LCS includes numerous commercial-based systems that are not used on other Navy ships. However, the Navy lacks sufficient manufacturer technical data to maintain many of these systems. That's because the manufacturers of our own equipment will not give our own military the information to maintain it. They kept that back so they could sell the maintenance and troubleshooting services to the Navy. This can lead to long maintenance periods, which it has, due to extra coordination needed between the manufacturers to assist and complete the work. So, maintenance contracts with shipyards, maintaining these ships for years and years is going to keep that cash flow coming in for the industrial complex. Now, here is the actual wording from the Appropriations House bill. This is their, let me come up here to the top. The Appropriations Committee releases fiscal year 2023 defense funding bill. So this is from the Appropriations Committee. This is above the House Armed Services Committee. And under the operational maintenance part that says includes a general provision and report language that directs the Navy to retain 5 littoral combat ships and provide a report to Congress on the uses of these vessels on missions in the Southern and African commands. So that report should be very easy to write because that's how we've been employing the LCS since the first one was built in 2010. And that's actually a good mission for it because in those theaters, littoral operations are often what's called for, but that's also a Coast Guard responsibility or that nation's Navy's responsibility for their own shorelines, not ours. Okay. And so that's why selling these ships and then providing maintenance to those nations is maybe a good idea for us. Keeping these ships on our books, not a good idea. So let's talk about the appropriationshouse.gov committee. Who is on it? And I'm going to go down the members. we have ranking members and chairs here. And as you can see, there's multiple people on this. So I'm going to pick one that I know because I'm from Florida, who is involved in this, and he is on this committee. But know that I am not isolating this to just Mr. John H. Rutherford from District 4, okay? Other people on this committee are benefiting just as much as he is. He is a duly elected representative of his district and serving in his district's own best interest, but also implicitly his own best interest as well. So here he is, John Rutherford, Florida's 4th District, Congressional District Representative. That 4th District is right here in the northern tip of Florida on the Atlantic coastline, basically the Jacksonville and Mayport area up and down the Indian River. Okay, this is his voting district. And the ships that are going to be maintained are out of Mayport, which is his home district, and one of the shipyards that is listed in the maintenance contract is right there in Mayport. But like I said, there are many others, and we're going to talk about who they are. Last year, the United States Navy awarded multiple contracts for LCS maintenance. The U.S. Naval Sea Systems Command is served as contracting activity for multiple awarded contracts. This comes at us from naval-technology.com. I recommend you go to that website and read this entire article, as we're just going to cover the first portion of it. But here we have the Freedom class ship. This is specifically the type of ship we're talking about in the LCS program. Remember, there's 2 different classes under the LCS program. The Freedom class is what we're talking about today. The U.S. Navy has issued multiple award contracts, or MACs, cumulatively valued at $2.76 billion to maintain littoral combat ships based in Mayport, Florida. Keep in mind, we have LCS ships based in other areas of the country as well, but we're just talking about the Mayport, Florida specific LCSs, okay? BAE Systems and Finicary Maritime Systems of North America have been awarded a combined contract with a ceiling value of $1.3 billion for the maintenance. That's under the MAC, that's $2.7 billion. Separately, General Dynamics NASSCO Ship Maintenance Facility, Austral, USA, North Florida Shipyard, which is there in the Gentleman's District, as well as Tenneco has an office there, Colonia's Shipyards, which is up in Norfolk, East Coast Repair Fabrication, and many other shipyards are going to continue to receive maintenance contracts if they just continue this contract. Again, this one was written last year for the LCS program, as long as these ships are on the books. Here's a picture of where Tenneco's offices are, but this is Austral USA's in Mobile. Here in North Florida, they have this shipyard, which I found interesting. This North Florida shipyard, which is listed on the list of shipyards being awarded part of the multi-billion-dollar contract, is now permanently closed. Now, that contract is almost a year old now, so maybe at some point they closed during the contract, apparently. Here is Colonia's contract. This is out of Norfolk and so forth. And again, Mayport, for those of you wondering, is right there at the very tip of Florida inside the 4th District. So keeping these ships on the books helps keep the money flowing to all these different military contractors, and some of the people making the decisions to keep and recommending that these ships stay afloat are receiving their districts are receiving money from these maintenance contracts. So can you see the conflict of interest I'm pointing out here? This is really an unnecessary cost that is being propagated by people who apparently benefit in a conflict of interest from the decisions they're making. All right, but I'll tell you what's not a conflict of interest. I've partnered with Hayes Gray Apparel. That's right. We won't shuffle your money over to any kind of political action group if you buy a t-shirt from us. And I do want to say thank you to the gentleman at Hayes Gray Apparel who brought me on board. Take a look at some of the great t-shirts we have here. They're all reasonably priced, and if you use sub10 discount code and checkout, you'll get 10% off. So thank for them for giving me a vanity, URL or a vanity discount code. And I think some of these are really cool. Now, if you're not interested in any mugs or onesies or t-shirts, you can always just buy a gift card there and still apply the 10% off, effectively getting more money on your gift card than you're spending. So make sure you use sub10 on checkout. And thanks to Hayes Gray Apparel for giving me the opportunity to have a discount code on their website. It's really good. All right. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. I will see you next time.